Apologies for the slight delay. This is the February 2026 meeting of Portola Valley's Bicycle, Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee. If I can start with a roll call from down at the end of the dais, please.
Pat Bainan.
Angela Hay.
Kevin Welch.
Ed Holland, I'm chair. And we have Robert Burt with us as well, who is town engineer. Is that your correct title? Yeah, thank you. I didn't know if you were director of public works or town engineer, or are they interchangeable?
All involved, yeah.
All right. Thank you. We have next, item 2 on our agenda is oral communications for any item that is not on the published agenda. I have a couple of things to speak to, but I think with this paper in hand, perhaps Pat will be best to introduce discussion of the wildlife competition item. So would you like to take that away? It is on the agenda. Well, we can actually then cover that there. And the goal really is to find a way for the town to make this a competition so that local artists, particularly appeal to youth, to bring some designs which could be incorporated into the signage.
Yeah, well, Angela and I have been working on this, and we have two ideas that I think we could use as a launching pad or springboard, and then open it up to more, because it turns out there's a lot of good ideas out there.
Yep.
But we're thinking of animal footprints going across the road where animals have been hit. All sorts of different footprints. Fluorescent, so they glow at night. Angela just shared with me a great idea of using, when somebody gets hit on a bicycle, they put up white ghost spikes to show that some tragedy has happened at a site. So we're thinking, what about white ghost animals near the site where they got hit? So that there's a constant reminder that, things happen. I think it would be very meaningful. But anyway, tons of ideas. So there's a calendar in the pack on this handout. I think it's very aggressive and optimistic at the same time. But we'll put out a call to entry. And well, you have to read this stuff over, and Angela may well have
Timeline is on the back
more
for anybody
input.
that's reading.
But yes, we want to incorporate kids. There's a lot of local artists around here. Maybe we do a kind of a regional search as far as call to entry, we put out a request, and I don't know, we'll have to talk about the parameters for entries. It's all part of the plan, but we don't have to do that here.
Yeah, I'll discuss the rest of this item later on where it comes up in the agenda, because there's some more updates based on a conversation that I've had with town manager Darcy Smith and with Helen, our liaison. So I think there's at least a hope of some forward progress. So
Okay.
We'll get to that when we come to it. We have some other probably time pressing items. I don't have anything further.
Hi, Ed. It's Sergeant Nick Barano. Sorry, I'm late to the meeting, so I don't know if you guys have skipped over my portion or not.
No, we have. You're still in good time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Okay. If I don't have any further oral communications for items not on the agenda, I'd like to move on to item 3, which is approval of the minutes. Angela, I know you sent me some notes for spelling correction and a couple of other items, so those can be amended and resubmitted to the town clerk, which I will do. Anybody else have anything relating to the minutes? In which case, I'd like to propose we accept the minutes.
Second that.
I'll second that.
Okay, and a show of hands to approve the minutes. Okay, carried. Thank you very much. And then, Nick, you're in good time. If we can move on to the sheriff's report, please.
Yeah, again, apologize for being late. I didn't know where we were jumping in here. So pretty low key month for the month of January. We had 6 moving citations, 1 parking citation, and 0 crashes. So that's good to start off the year there, I think.
Beg your pardon, Nick. We have a little commotion here over making our different screens work.
No worries.
Good. Yeah. Beg- he's here online. So, Nick, please continue with your report, and then we'll open up to public comment. Sorry for the delay.
No worries at all. Sorry, did you guys catch the numbers for the month of January? The 6 parking citation, or I'm sorry, 6 moving citations, 1 parking citation, and 0 crashes.
Okay, yes, got that. Thank you, and thank you for the reports. I did see those come in good time. Angela, you have a question?
I've got a comment. There was a crash outside our house at Indian Crossing involving a bicycle coming down the trail and jumping onto Alpine Road, and the guy fell off his bike. I talked to the fire brigade, and they said that they have a list of accidents they have gone out to. I'm wondering if it would be a good idea to have their report, because they go to a lot of places where the sheriff's deputies are not called to an accident. So there are injury accidents that we're missing. And I thought it might be a good idea to get that report.
But a paramedic from the fire station would be.
You want the report for our committee, is that correct?
Yes, I would like someone from the fire department to report on their accidents each month, just like the police are reporting.
Yeah, we should do that. Absolutely. I think that's a good idea to capture a better picture of what's happening. Who would be the right person to reach out to? Do you know? Okay, thank you.
Is it possible to find out where the parking citation was?
Yeah, I have that information for you. Apologize, I just clicked off the screen there. Parking citation was 765 Portola Road.
Oh, that's right here.
So that's where it was at.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I know, Nick, you and I discussed a little bit about the other incidents that have taken place in the area. I know you commented to me that this is not the correct forum to discuss those. And so I have, this is regarding the cable theft from telephone equipment. But I have since been in touch with the town manager and yeah, who else now? Dear me, my brain's going. So that we can reconnect with the upper tiers of the sheriff's department to maintain the link, not just between the town and the captains and assistant sheriffs, but also so that Kevin and I, who are the police commissioners, can also be part of that triangle, so we can find out more. But one question, the general question did arise out of that is, are you aware of being able to, or the sheriff's department still being able to access the cameras that are on Portola Road, Alpine Road, and the Alpes camera that is on Arastradero Road?
No, we do not have access to any of the Portola Valley owned ALPR system.
Okay, you do not, as I was assured that you did have access.
Are
We
they
do-
operable?
I don't know. They're owned and maintained by the town of Portola Valley. We have the sheriff's office uses the Flock system, so town of Woodside uses Flock. Pretty much everywhere in the peninsula uses, in the Bay Area uses Flock. I believe you guys had the old system, or not an old system. It could be new, but it's Vigilant. I believe you guys have.
That's good. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have, because it's owned and operated by the town of Portola Valley. We don't utilize it, or I don't know where that data is going, if they're still operable or not. That would be a follow-up question with the town manager.
Thank you very much. That's useful information.
It looks-
Helen, you'd like to make a comment?
Or it looks like Robert.
Let
might
me,
want-
can I interject for a second? I believe Robert was, or should be involved with that. It used to be Howard, and Howard had all those maintained because they were very accurate compared to the flock system at the time.
I believe that those were taken out of service at the end of Howard's tenure, around his last year. I'm not familiar with the history, but I know that they are no longer being used. One of the reasons why is there are other license plate readers that are at the main entry and exits to town, including there's one that you see in the town border along Woodside. That's where we typically see that sign that says, you know, license plate reader, camera in effect. That actually is a sign which has the Woodside logo right next to it, which could be used also. So it's kind of redundant to have two of them in that specific scenario. I'd have to look at the other two scenarios, but I believe one of the other two exits is also monitored by other entities.
I can speak to both of these. Good morning, Helen Walter, council member. So my understanding is that our license plate readers in town became outdated and there was not money to update them, unfortunately. So, however, you know, City of Mountain View just pulled them offline because of the data breaches that are going on. So we do have access when needed to Woodsides, which is here in Portola, and to the county, which is in Ladera. There are no longer any on Arrestadero. So, so that's what's happened because of the financial situation. So I hope, you know, and my understanding is council is aware. I've had conversations with Darcy Smith, town manager, about it. You know, we definitely know, but because of exactly what Robert said, you know, with tight finances in the two primary corridors for ingress and egress at Ladera and Portola Road, we do have license plate readers if needed to help with public safety.
This committee was never informed of them taken offline.
And it hasn't been very public. So it was not an item for council. So I had a discussion with the town manager just privately about it. So I'm not sure why there was not, why that you were not informed, but that's the situation with the.
Thank you. I think it would be important for us and the wider public to be informed because there are expectations based around, oh, we have those cameras, and that clearly isn't entirely the case to what people's perceptions are. So I think just a broadcast of what really is the situation would
Right.
would be useful.
Right.
And why? Because there are good reasons.
Right. So, you know, I don't know how long they've been offline. Like, this was a question I had as well, because I was under the impression that there were cameras. So I don't know how long Robert's saying that they came offline at the end of Howard's tenure. Like, I was not on council at that point. So it's not clear to me either how long it's been going on.
But that would be almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, I believe it was approximately 2 to 3 years ago when they originally went offline due to funding issues at that time. There was a lot of other issues with the town. I do know, again, that the Ladera location is monitored by a secondary automatic license plate reader, as is the Woodside, Portola Valley, property, well, not property, but town juncture.
Boundary, yeah.
Town boundary, yeah. So that would leave the Arrestadero location, which we still have all the hardware there. It's simply that I believe, in looking into this and figuring out what happened, I believe that the original company we paid a subscription to, because it was a subscription-based service, they actually are no longer in operation. The company no longer exists. I'm not sure if there was discussion to going to something else, if it was determined that the amount of funding required for a single automatic license plate reader would be insufficient. Again, it was before our time. So,
Question, Robert. How many different types of technology are out there today to back up something like our roads?
I would like to hold on here and just thank Sergeant Baronio for his time. And I don't think, do we have any further questions for Nick before we get more deep?
Well,
I-
I would just like to thank the sergeant. I saw a sheriff's deputy's vehicle coming out at school time, so they were watching the school. So I'd like to thank them for that.
Oh, yeah.
Nick,
No,
thank you for your
absolutely.
report.
I-
Appreciate your help.
I don't know. I do have another question, Nick.
Okay.
Sergeant, thank
Oh.
you. I did get a complaint about Willowbrook, actually, and the parking on Willowbrook at the Windy Hill. So Alpine and Willowbrook, there's on the weekends in particular. And there's safety issues. There's an island in the middle of Willowbrook, and people are parking and blocking access around that, particularly for fire trucks. So I'm hoping that the sheriff can do some surveys over there on the
Yeah,
weekends,
we definitely
please.
support that. That is one area where we attempted to make some differences, and at least we know we did have the island red curbed, so that should be a clear demarcation for parking there.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
believe-
not a problem. I can go ahead and I can forward that off to the patrol sergeants so they can route that to their teams.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, and I would love to know actually the situation with the red curbs, because I do think that that's a safety issue at that street.
But we had
I
it-
believe we marked those, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had it
Yeah.
done as part of our project. It was done fairly recently, and I actually cycled down the other day and noticed the red curbs are still there.
But on
I-
weekends, people don't necessarily follow them.
That's right.
I've
so it
been
can be
there on
cited, yeah.
weekends and it is accident waiting to happen.
Yeah,
Both
it's,
sides are cars, cyclists going through the middle, other cars negotiating people and bikes. Oh, it's horrible.
It
And
is-
it's a long distance.
It is
Yeah,
a-
and the
it-
residents, what they do is put the garbage cans out there to keep the people away from that particular area. So what I suggest is just a little bit more enforcement.
right. So Sergeant, we would appreciate more enforcement at Willowbrook and Alpine on the weekends.
Yeah, I'll make sure that the Patrol Valley deputy assigned up there for each team is notified of that area.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, that's
Great,
great.
thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, have a good one.
Okay, that concludes the item 4, our sheriff's report. Item 5 is a special item, as a presentation by Patrick Gilster from CCAG. Good morning, Patrick. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. And I can share screens, right?
Patrick's isn't sharing his face. What are you looking for?
Yeah, I want to change the view on that so that you can.
Yeah, because Patrick has a presentation, so we need to share.
Yeah, I believe. it's
Oh,
showing
that's
that
okay.
He didn't share a screen before now.
Let me know when you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
All right.
there we go.
All right. Well, good morning. Thank you all for having me. I'm Patrick Gilster, the Director of Planning and Fund Management with the San Mateo County Transportation Authority. We are supporting CCAG in developing the San Mateo Countywide Transportation Plan Update. So it's a joint effort led by both of our agencies. I know we're pressed for time today, so I won't go over the entire presentation. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes, but I will want to give you an update on what the purpose of our countywide transportation plan update is. I'll skip over the how we move in San Mateo County. I'll give a brief kind of overview of it, but really want to focus on hearing from you all a little bit about what your interests are in transportation and what the issues are in Portola Valley, and how we should be accommodating that looking ahead to our horizon year for this plan for the county for 2050. And I give you a brief overview of next steps and when we plan to report back. So for those that don't know the difference between our two agencies, the City and County Association of Governments of San Mateo County, or CCAG, provides a collaborative forum for all jurisdictions in San Mateo County to pursue our goals for a safe, equitable, and accessible multimodal transportation network and environmentally sustainable climate resilient future. So CCAG is the county transportation agency. They're designated by the state, and they manage the state transportation improvement funds that come from them. And they also manage the federal funds that trickle down from the federal government through the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. Whereas our agency, my agency, the San Mateo County Transportation Authority, or SMCTA, we manage the local Measure A and Measure W sales taxes that go directly to transportation projects across the county. We also help fund, plan, and provide technical assistance to our local jurisdictions to help deliver transportation projects, big and small, across the county. The purpose of the countywide transportation plan update, many folks ask, what is a CTP? The CTP creates a vision for the future of transportation in San Mateo County. It helps our agencies and our local jurisdictions set our global priorities and guides our decision-making at CCAG and SMCTA as we plan and fund and deliver local and regional transportation projects. In essence, it's our highest level transportation policy document here in the county. And it's really an umbrella document for many different documents that kind of fall under its purview. So anything from CCAG's congestion monitoring program, which looks at county congestion, the road safety plan, local road safety plan, VMT or vehicle miles traveled, and greenhouse gas reductions. Some policies trickle into Reimagine Samtrans and the Caltrain business plan in our local SMCTA strategic plan. As well as the comprehensive bicycle pedestrian plan, among other things in the county. So lots of different things that it impacts. The last plan was adopted in 2018, but a lot has happened since then. So both in what's changed in transportation across the county, in all of our cities, and our regional travel with the global pandemic, but also a lot of new and big transportation projects have come online. Things like the 101 express lanes has been completed. Caltrain electrification has now been up and running for a year, and the 101 smart corridor plan in the north part of the county that guides people on and off the freeways when there's crashes. But we know not everything that's occurred across the county are these large-scale projects. There's been a ton of work at our local level creating safer walking and biking and vehicle infrastructure. Anything from the East Palo Alto University Avenue overcrossing and interchange project that just recently opened to San Carlos Avenue, up in the hills, doing new sidewalks and bikeways to make it safer in neighborhoods, and then trail gap closures for the county and the Complete the Trail project. So these are just some things to name a few. We're right at the start of the CTP process. I know it says fall 2025 on the defined vision and goals for the CTP update. We're actually still in that phase. We actually ended up stretching that phase to a 4-month phase because we're going to every transportation related committee across the county at every city in the county to make sure that we want to hear from you about what's happening at the local level. This plan hasn't been updated in quite some time. And our vision for transportation is changing dramatically in the county. We want to make sure every area of the county is represented in this plan because in full transparency, we don't believe it was as well represented in the last plan. So that's why we're excited to hear from you today. So we'll be taking all of that feedback, comparing it to our countywide and local plans that have adopted strategies and policies and actions, and then generating our new vision for the county and goals for the county as well. So this document is a CCAG document. The Transportation Authority is helping support it both financially and to deliver the project across the county, knowing that we have a lot of different cities and towns to go to. So we'll then be generating a project list with all of the city partners and our transit agency partners over the spring and summer, and then drafting and hopefully adopting the plan with CCAG's board towards the late winter time. The last plan itself had a lot in it. We found that this new plan really needed some critical outcomes we wanted to focus on, trying to make a more practical plan for the county so it's easier to read and understand how we're making decisions, especially when it comes to funding at our agencies. Figuring out how we anticipate change and strategize for funding, better align those, and then figure out how we advance equity. Equity is something that's very important to people in our county, but also the definition varies depending on what town or city you're in or what metric you're using. So we're going to be working with our partners at Samtrans, CCAG, the Transportation Authority, Caltrain, Commute.org, and representatives from our city to come up with a more standard county definition of equity when we think of place-based equity. And then figuring out how we measure progress. The last plan had 44 different metrics that it looked at, which for folks who look at plans, that's a lot of different metrics to calculate and report on, and it gets very cumbersome. So we're looking to shrink that list, look at what is already being collected in terms of data, and figure out how we could better display that and communicate progress more frequently throughout the county. So I'm going to gloss over this section. I think most of us know how we move in San Mateo County. We are a super wide or super long and diverse county in terms of our geographies and our land uses. Many different types of towns from the coast side in the hills and then on the bay side, north and south. Lots of different competing priorities and travel patterns. And we know we need to make sure that's represented in this plan. So I will skip over this part because I know you're pressed for time, but if you don't have the presentation, I'm happy to make sure you all have a copy of the presentation if you want to dive more into the countywide statistics. But really, we're looking ahead to 2050 with this plan effort and wanting to make sure that we incorporate a lot of the countywide things going on, which include anything from Caltrain crossings to El Camino Real and the Grand Boulevard Initiative to safety on all of our roadways for all users with the local road safety plan, our shuttle networks, and other different things like bike share. This plan update, we know there are a ton of different factors that are playing into our transportation concerns across the county. And so really trying to make sure that we figure out how to reflect those here, whether that's at a policy level or a project level or a program level. Things ranging from housing supply and costs to climate risks, aging populations, making sure our folks are able to stay in the county and have the resources they need as they age in place. E-devices, how things like e-bikes are going to affect travel across the county, the transit funding deficit, and how things like autonomous vehicles may impact our local transportation network. So if you'll indulge us and if you have time, otherwise I am always happy to receive these via email too, but we're looking for feedback from our transportation committees really related to a few key points that we want to address in the plan. One being not just having critiques of what happened, but also wanting to make sure we know what's happening well in the county. Things from your perspective, what's working well in the transportation system today, so we can make sure those are celebrated and continued. But we do know there's lots of key challenges. So what are the most critical challenges in transportation in the county and in your community? Are there any underserved areas specifically in your community or around your community that you want to make sure are represented in this plan? And our favorite question for future needs, knowing that needs are very different across the county, but we like to see where people are, what people are thinking about. So if you had a magic wand, what one transportation project would you want to see implemented? And so with that, I can answer any questions, or if you'd like to answer one or any of these, we're happy to get any feedback you're willing to share today.
Patrick, thank you. Thank you for condensing that. We look forward to sharing the full deck of slides with the committee. It looks like a very comprehensive plan, obviously, encompassing the whole county. I'm sure a few of us have some questions, so I'd like to open this up for committee and public comment. Angela, you had your hand up first.
Okay. The plan has always had bike lanes in Portola Valley, and actually we have bike shoulders, which are not painted green. And so I would like that reflected in the plan. Another thing is, I think it would be good to have a policy for traffic calming throughout the county, and that you could say that there are different class roads. On these class roads, we'll have traffic lights. On these class roads, we'd recommend roundabouts. On these class roads, we'd recommend speed humps. So that, you know, I know people don't want to get into the engineering, but I think it helps if you can actually give pictures of what you are planning. And I would like a whole section on traffic calming, because speed is one of the most important factors in traffic safety. The next thing is public transport goals. You put the deficit of public transports worldwide, the deficits in public transport, but I don't think it should be looked like that. I think it should be looked as where are the subsidies coming from? And one of the things you might consider is we are very short of buses in Portola Valley. So I was just up in Truckee where there was a free dial-a-ride system after the buses don't operate anymore after 6 o'clock. You might want to have a more on the dial-a-ride services. And we need a county e-bike policy. And so that's something else that needs to be in the plan.
Thank you, Angela. Kevin?
I back up Angela, especially with our elderly people and handicapped people out here. They really don't have any services. I'm continuously taking neighbors to doctor's appointments, Safeway, whatever the case may be. But the micro vehicles that are coming about, I think is going to have to be formatted into a priority, especially out here.
Thank you, Kevin. Pat, do you have a comment? I do. One of my priorities is general pedestrian safety and discouraging car journeys for things like local school trips. So everything we can do to improve the pedestrian infrastructure for kids walking and biking to school. Helen, yeah, please.
Hey, Patrick, Helen Walter, council member. So nice to be talking to you.
Great to see you, Helen.
I would point out that I would love, I'm not supposed to chime in so this is as a I'm not speaking on the transportation committees
So as a resident.
as well. Yes, as a
Yes.
resident.
We're taking public feedback too as part of these, so.
Okay,
don't
thanks.
worry.
But I would also I'd love to see some separated bike lane situation. 75% of our accidents in town are bikes. You're shaking your head? Okay. Well, one of my transportation committee members is shaking her heads. And we really are looking at trying, if I could wave a wand to do an evacuation route with a bike, extra bike shoulder or lane. So that if I could wave my wand, I would absolutely love to have our evacuation route that also serves as bike ped, shoulder or lane.
So I think if that was a path completely separate from the road, that's a
So
totally different thing.
here-
But a separated part of the roadway is, I think, what we had in mind as a.
Right. So Peers and Fear, there is a study, and I can send you that has a proposed plan, concept plan. So I can send you that as well. If I had we desperately need an evacuation route, and then we need better safety for our particularly our bicyclists on the roads because of the high accident numbers. So some of my transportation committee is shaking their head, not in agreement. So
I think we're here to draw in ideas, but not really hold a debate, but just make our comments
Thank you.
known. Thank you. Thank you, Helen.
Yeah.
Interesting comments. I think I agree completely as far as the evacuation routes. And I think that's one area that we can be much more creative in is our evacuation options. And we've got the regular roadways, which are well-defined, but we also have paths. We have the Windy Hill exit. We could go if we could have that accessible in some form to get some people out. The area near Pony Tracks, where we are up in Los Tracos area, really needs to be cleared with whomever is there as far as a viable, reasonable way to get out, because that takes you to Pageville. That makes sense. But right now it's not favored to do that. That should get cleaned up. Our Dirt Alpine could also be an exit. And the trail has just been redone. That could be visited as far as a place for people to get out. And if e-bikes are really going to continue to move forward, we push people to exit via e-bike as opposed to all those cars. Maybe revisit the mode of transportation to get out of here. So all those things I think could be visited. Having a separate bike lane, bike path for this area is something that we've been trying very hard not to develop for the implications, ramifications, the visibility of having that is not in favor. We're trying to encourage cyclists in all different modalities to be able to use our roads, which includes training rides, which take up more space, and we're okay with that. We've accommodated that. Putting in barriers to define bike and road is just going to lead to so many accidents and so much more maintenance and complication. I really think that that's something that we as a committee have been trying to keep Portola Valley away from.
Yep. Thank you, Pat. Angela, you have one.
I would just like to clarify separated trails. And I totally agree with Pat that we don't need anything on the road to mess up the lane between the shoulder and the road. We need to have that open so that pelotons can do it. But having said that, I think we have a trail that goes down Alpine Road, a paved trail that's a path separate from the road. It would be good to get that connected to Stamford. A long time ago, there was $10 million to the county to expand that trail. Because of neighborhood pressure, it was not built. And there are ways to do a connected trail down to Stamford for people who do not want to bike on the side of the road. And so there are other areas it would be nice to have, like the Bay Trail, a paved trail going all the way around the bay at sort of not at the skyline level and not at the bay level, but in between.
Okay.
One of
Kevin,
the things I'd like to say about future needs here, you ask questions to the committee. I would like to see governors put on cars.
Yeah, I think that may fall out of the scope of, I do have one further question for you, Patrick, and that is, does the concern here also consider local access and parking management?
It can. We're trying to figure that out if that is a countywide need or if that's something that is at the local level. So there's no right or wrong answer to those questions here. So there are parking policies
So it would-
in the current plan.
So that would be within scope of submitting a view. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Do we have anything further? Any further comments or discussion on this item? Or so, in terms of our interaction with this, what would be the next steps, please?
Great question. Teeing me up for the last few slides. So our next steps on this, so as I mentioned, over the fall and winter, we're going to now be taking all the feedback, developing the draft vision goals, developing policies, working with the town staff, for instance, to generate the program and project list. Our plan is to come back in the fall, actually. So the schedule is actually pushed out from when we started our roadshow tour, visiting all our cities and towns. We actually have more time from the Metropolitan Transportation Commission to develop this plan. So we're going to come back to you with that vision, goals, policies, and the project list for the county towards late summer, early fall, to get both the committee feedback on and the council feedback on across the county as well. So we have a long ways to go before we're up and running and adopted with the plan. So you'll have another touch point from us, I would say 4 to 6 months from now.
Okay, thank you. But
Probably more than 6 months.
In that interim time, could this committee expect to be asked to provide viewpoints or feedback? And in what form would that take?
During that time, we don't have planned other touch points. It's a lot of internal work at that point.
Okay, thank you. That's very clear. If we don't have anything further, we'll let you continue with your day. Thank you very much for your time and a clear presentation.
Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Robert, it's time for the Public Works update, please.
I think we've discussed most of the ongoing issues already. There has been reference to, pull it up here, theft of some AT&T internet cabling that recently happened. That is on my mind particularly, but how we can keep our eyes on that and try to prevent it from happening again. Ultimately, it is under AT&T's jurisdiction, but the town is aware of it, and I'm trying to do what I can to see how we can address and potentially prevent this in the future. I'd be interested in hearing the committee's thoughts and opinions on the matter.
Yep.
is everyone familiar with the situation and what happened? Let me pull up information. 1 second. I know. So I believe, Ed, you actually sent this, but basically there was telephone cabling from AT&T that was cut and stolen from poles along Alpine and Portola Road. The theft happened on February 4th, which would be 2 days ago.
I think actually there were two incidents a few days apart because there was a report of
Okay,
unusual equipment on the Portola site on Monday.
okay,
Wednesday, the Alpine outage was reported.
okay. So that would be Monday, the 2nd of this week, and Wednesday, which would be the 4th of this week.
That's correct.
The incident on the 4th was thought to have occurred sometime between the hours of 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. Do we know Monday what our timeline was? I imagine much the same.
Discovered in the morning. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we have a clearer picture of that. What I have for the Wednesday incident is a resident who pretty well knows about a half-hour window when their internet would have dropped out. So
Yeah. Okay. So AT&T, I believe, is currently working on getting internet back together. There are 48 customers reported, including Ed, without phone and internet. Currently, Councilmember Flynn has been involved as well. Basically, Monday and Wednesday of this week, internet cabling was cut, and AT&T is looking to repair it. They did this likely because of the copper in the lines and seek to essentially recycle the copper for profits.
Okay, I can say something that our internet was not restored earlier after the Alpine Road accident, where the equipment was damaged at Alpine Hills. And we have 5G wireless. It is totally inadequate when the school pickup time comes. Our download is 20 kilobits per second, not megabits, 20 kilobits per second because of people using the cell phone network. So basically, AT&T has to increase the capacity on their 5G if they want to get rid of people using cable.
Incidentally, it's time for them to bring fiber in place of copper. But
Absolutely.
that's another whole debate. I know there are some rumblings about that elsewhere. I do want to stay as much on topic as we can here. Thank you, Robert, for the update. Yeah, as one of the affected customers, I hope this gets resolved as quickly as possible.
I have a question. Right. Our maintenance for our streets, I haven't seen our street sweepers around. Have they diminished or what's happened with that?
The amount of street sweeping done has been reduced. They come around twice a month. I've actually recently had discussions with them because I was hoping for a higher level of diligence when they did come around. Similar to what we see along the Woodside stretch where it appears to be more clean. So I was hoping to just talk to them and have a discussion about them doing a little bit of a better job trying to maintain the bike shoulder there, especially with all the leaves and whatnot and debris.
Actually, I will sing your praises there because last Friday I bumped into Scott discussing with the contractor clearing. Thank you, Helen. Discussing clearing of the pavement at the edges of the road. So I know that is in progress, and thank you very much for taking action with that.
So in addition to the standard street sweeping, one of the things that was very much heard in prior communications actually with BPTS was that there were some areas, especially along the retaining walls, where the shoulders were slowly encroaching in. And one of the issues we have there is a certain level of slow, not landslide, but slow erosion of the hillside. And it's difficult to cut some of that back in a manner that preserves everything, makes it nice, maintains it all, so on and so forth. That would be a one-time separate project. Likelihood is it'd be done once every 5 years or so, where we actually go in and scrape areas along the shoulders that have been slowly encroaching. Our two retaining walls are locations of interest, along with a lot of the culverts right along here. The culverts also tie into the hillsides. It all works together. That is potentially unfunded. We need to see how much funding we have. It's become a budgetary item. We got a quote back for, I believe, around $20,000 all in, and that a lot of that's due to the activity and traffic control.
Okay, one other last question. I noticed that, I don't know if they come out once a month, but I used to see a couple of individuals cleaning up our streets. I stop my truck and I'll pick up stuff and throw it in the garbage, right? Maybe we need more volunteers to do that. I know we have financial crunches. Or do we still have that maintenance in our budget for the people to come out here and clean our roads?
You mean litter collection?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sorry, what's the question again?
In times past, there's been a fairly regular litter collection pickup service. Is that still in place?
They come and they actually walk the roads once a month. And they pick up all the various litter along the roads. Is that still going on?
As a volunteer service or as a,
No,
I
no.
think-
No, this is people, they don't just do the roads, they do the side, all the trash. It's trash collection.
Yeah, off the verges and
is
in the
the,
right of way.
is the question, are there volunteers still coming around doing this, or is
no, we
there a
believe-
paid?
Believe we had a contracted service to
Every month they would clean our
in
roads.
the past.
I don't think, I haven't seen that in the entirety of my time here. I need to double check that to make sure. I've been very aware of the street sweeping. I don't think we've had any individual pedestrian kind
They
of.
walk, actually walk the Portola Road and Alpine Road once a month. And they have, pick up sticks with, for the garbage. And they're really good at, they were good at.
I
Our
don't
the-
streets
think,
been really clean, but I
Definitely.
noticed we're getting a little bit more litter on our streets.
yeah, I don't think we
Maybe we
currently
need
have
a
that
volunteer.
in place. I like the idea of volunteers for the trails. We do need to be careful
yeah.
when we talk about getting into the roadway itself.
We've done that before with Fest, very protective, clear cones and everything else and do sections at times.
Yeah,
Over the years, Robert.
That's an excellent idea. I would say that I'd section this off into a couple things, which please keep on reminding me. We're going to mid-year budget cycle. It was not captured for the mid-year budget, but potentially for next year's budget cycle, we could get funding for additional pedestrians.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who did that
Clear.
program.
can find
I know
it.
it was under Public Works, but I don't know who they hired to, the fact there's,
Hmm.
oh, they're,
We can
Right
find it.
now.
I'll see if our janitorial service is doing that. I don't think they do, but we can find it. Just keep on reminding me and
Okay.
bugging me.
all
And
right,
we'll,
fine. Yeah, we want to keep our roads
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
clean. Thank you.
The other thing is, I would appreciate it, when you come down Alpine Road to the Portola Road junction,
yes.
the entire shoulder is full of leaves at the moment.
That's
And
just been
it causes any bicyclist person to come out of the shoulder into the road.
Yeah.
And so those leaves need to be cleared.
Okay, I'll go look at it.
Then normally the street sweeper would take them up. And usually the street sweeper goes over it multiple times.
Yeah.
I've seen them do turns at Indian Crossing and going round in circles there.
Which side of the road?
On the right-hand side, when you're going down Alpine Road, you
Oh, on
have
the
to
right-hand
pull out into the,
The Hawthorne side.
on
So-
the Hawthorne side, you have to pull out into the road.
So if I was going from here to the intersection, it would be
No,
on-
no, coming down Alpine Road, you're coming down
Yes.
Alpine from, yes, you're coming down Alpine Road. When you get to the stop sign there, you cannot cycle in the shoulder at the moment because of the leaves.
Okay.
I was wondering, Robert, do we have a budget for goats? For cleaning goats?
We don't have a budget for goats
We don't?
currently. No. We currently do have budget for clearing work, which is done in coordination with Woodside Fire. And we maintain brush and do clearing through Woodside Fire Protection's preferred method, which is usually through hand crews, among other methods. I would need to check and see if Woodside Fire does have a goat vendor on staff that would
Yeah.
provide goats for, I assume you're talking about general clearance of areas.
Yeah, well, this year's, who knows with the rain that we've had, but I've seen goats out on Alpine Road now and again. There's somebody out there. Maybe they've probably hired them on their own. Stanford hires goats. Other people hire goats. And just as far as some of this clearance and some of this brush stuff, they're a great asset. And we do have somebody up on West Ridge that has goats. We have a local goat person. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And any further questions for Robert? Because I know you have.
Really quickly,
Yeah.
Angela, so I'm hearing,
As a hand up as well.
yes, I'm hearing right at Triangle Park. Is that correct, or am I totally off base? Okay. And I'm hearing that at the Triangle Park side of the intersection of the park, opposite side.
The other side,
Okay.
it's,
I can see that. I will ask our local facilities to look into it and see if they can go and
Because
hand.
we have so
shovel
many
it.
overhanging trees that are a fire hazard as well.
Yeah, it looks like there's
Just sort
also,
that as well, that'd be fine.
okay, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, and ask the street sweeper to sweep the shoulders.
Yes, I am aware of that. I'm and of the same opinion you are, which is they seem to be doing a little bit of a less diligent job than they once did, which is why I've been in contact with them and kind of
Good. Thank you.
reminding them.
Well, we appreciate
Agreed.
that. Thank you, Robert.
I want to get to Christy before.
Christy, did you have a question? Christy, can you hear us? Okay, in case not, we'll move on. That concludes our public work update. Thank you, Robert. Moving on to our ongoing committee business.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get you. Are you still available to talk?
We are still here, but please keep your comments to a minute or so, please, because we're.
Okay, so I'm wondering with construction, if the street cleaner is required from the contractor that's building. Because I've seen that in contracts before as a requirement. And I think we should utilize that as much as we can. I know we just weren't because we had our own cleaner, but how do we start using developer requirements on construction?
Hi, Christy. This is Robert. We do not require a street sweeper in most situations. There's been one situation in my time here in the last year in which a contractor was doing fairly heavy construction, and there was soils that was spilling onto the road, in which we did tell them they would need to get a street sweeper out there in order to maintain the road cleanliness and the road condition due to the soils from the construction. If we were to require a street sweeper, it would be likely localized, but that is a good idea. I can certainly bring.
Yeah,
that to
I'm
the
just
town
thinking,
manager.
I'm thinking more of OSHA requirements.
OSHA requirements
I mean,
specifically.
Yeah, I think it's listed in OSHA to always clean up on a monthly basis, so I don't know. I read it in a agreement and then we just weren't taking advantage of it, I think, because we had our own. But now if we've reduced our own, then we need to look at what developers, I mean, we have a big one coming on Alpine Road, so that's what I'm concerned about.
I'll take a look at that, Christy, and I'll bring it up to the developer of that project. If it
Thank you.
becomes such a item. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I advise you to run to the nearest exit if you're going to make.
More questions.
Okay.
Just make sure you turn this off.
I will, yeah. On to our ongoing committee business. At the, oh Lord, was it last week or the week before? When was the last council meeting, Robert? Do you remember? Was the council meeting last week on the 28th? Yes, it was. Yes. Yeah, I gave the committee update. I don't know if anybody held out until, I think it was, thank you, yeah. So updating our priorities based on last year's plus a few extra things, which I'll come on to later on. But there were no particular questions from the council, just essentially carry on as we are. And we can maybe expect some more direction from them on a couple of things. I know potentially parking policy may come to us as a more definite matter to provide a recommendation, I would say. So you'd be ready for that one. But yeah, nothing earth shattering with that. I'd like to move on to item 7B, which is the signage discussion, because I think that's possibly the most exciting thing we have right now.
So, I am looking at what you've got.
Can't hear.
No.
Is the microphone on?
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank you, Christy. So, there's a note here saying February 28th, we're supposed to do an update to the town council about our idea for the.
Oh, I beg your pardon. So yeah, that was brought forward to the 28th. That was our regular.
Okay, so.
That was our regular update, and I had initially put that into this month's town council. But Veronica asked if we could bring it forward.
Okay, so I think myself and Angela, if you're game, we could put together a presentation. We'll send it to both of you. You can look at it before the town council meeting. We'll make it short,
Yep.
sweet.
Thank you.
And we do have a timeline. The
That's
back
brilliant.
page of your packet. And it
Oh,
says.
nothing happens if you don't have a timeline. So I really appreciate it.
Well, that's Angela put this together. I just changed the
Well.
dates because she was too positive. I added a few more months here and there just because I know the way we work.
Thank you both. I think this is really constructive.
Oh, it's going to help a lot. So we'll work on the next thing, which is the presentation to the town council. And I think that will solidify a lot of the ideas that we have kind of floating.
And we would like
I-
comments.
We
I-
do.
My comment would be to keep whatever the slogan is or the motto, whatever you're coming up with, like wildlife corridor or whatever you're going to put in, make it as simple as possible. And the reason for that, we want to scroll that. We have our board that we put out on the streets continuously. Ed and I just about.
So
have it
something that can
fixed.
display clearly on that. In
Yeah.
a
And
reasonable-
in all honesty, people have commented to me about that sign and that they've read it and they appreciate having the wildlife corridor sign going. So that's been very
Yes,
well received.
Thank you.
right.
Good. I have some update on that based on conversation I had with Helen and Darcy. So Helen Walter, our liaison, and Darcy Smith, the town manager. Just basically making sure this gets more on the agenda for them, establish some sort of budget and figure out if we have a competition, what's going to be the right way to accept submissions, make judgments and do things the right way.
Well, yeah, and that would, when we do the competition in that regard, I firmly believe it's delicate, yet at the same time, there's plenty of examples, call to entries. I submit things to art shows all the time. So it shouldn't be that hard for us to be able to communicate that clearly and with parameters as far as time.
Yep.
The place I think is going to be trickier is setting up a committee to decide, or maybe we're the committee,
Panel of
which
judges.
which ones we want to use.
Well, I think that should fall across committees. So it should include the
Right,
conversation,
yeah, that's on here.
conservation,
We've got a
include
good,
us, it could,
and Angela and I, of course, both want to be on that committee.
absolutely. I
So-
would second that.
Yeah, so I think we'll work on the presentation. It'll kind of put these other things in place. The outline that we've got going is really good.
And include those elements in your presentation.
Yeah. Oh, for
we
sure.
We need those things to make it. It will promote the whole thing in a much better way and in a much more visible way.
And-
if we have that in place.
I think the more fun and the more creative we are with this, the more effective it's going to be. So we just don't need another, just a sign. We wanted to send a message.
Yeah, I think that covers
That was
some of the things you've discussed, like animal prints on the road and things like that. Covers much better the idea that we would have things that would alert you to than just extra signs in different places.
And we can make a movie. We can make a movie too, and social media.
One of the suggestions I would say is most of the residents out here, most of the residents, not all, realize we live in a wildlife corridor area. It's the people coming into our corridor that we have to captivate as they drive through. And that, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think let's keep that one on the boil and keep it on the agenda. Very, very good. I like the progress there. Our next item would be safe routes to school. I don't know. We don't have any.
Is that really done by the school?
It should be. Maybe I should just take it. What I wanted to do is create a link in case. So if there's no update,
The school should be applying for the grants. There are grants. The school should be doing it, and they should be presenting to us what they're doing.
okay. With the committee's permission, I'd like to skip to the item F at the end of our regular business, which is something new. And there's been some discussion that should we review our charter and review our name as a committee?
Other towns call it the BPAC committee, but the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, but we have also traffic in, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah. I mean,
At one time we started, we were going to include equestrians, actually. It was going to be the bicycle, pedestrian, equestrian. But they're still in school.
yeah. And I think one view is that one view is that what it is admirable to try and be as inclusive with naming as possible, but it leads to confusion because people can't remember the full name. And another thing that I've noticed with things people say to me in public and in private, they say, "Oh, you're on the bicycle committee." Well, we're not a bicycle committee. It's just people remember the first word. And so do we want to go for something really simple like road safety and infrastructure, or so that's the way my thinking is leaning. I want to put this to the committee to have a proper discussion.
Yeah. And the reason that was brought up was Ted Driscoll, when he was the mayor, all right, who's a bicyclist as well.
Yeah.
And he felt we have more bicycle accidents, which we do out here, than anything else. So therefore, they put bicycle up front. That's all I'm saying.
No, but everybody has to have it in the town. Like, I think every town has a bicycle committee. They all call them BPAC committees.
Well, or circulation
or
or road
circulate-
safety.
Yeah, something like that.
I think previously it was called circulation. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think circulation is another name used, but there are certain names used in the industry. BPTS is not a name used in the industry.
No,
So I
Woodside, what do they call Woodside?
I think they're a circulation. committee.
Circulation committee?
and we could do a survey of all the towns and say what they're called
That's a good start.
Mhm.
That's a very
Yeah.
good start.
in the county, or we could ask county planners. They may well have the list.
That's it. That's a very good start. I'll contact
But
Patrick. and
All
just
of you
ask-
guys are all bicyclists. And I living out here, see a lot of bicyclists or bicycle accidents. So maybe we have to keep bicycle up front and incorporate something else, make it easy so that we have some kind of a easy.
Well, there's a
remember.
public works committee. What on earth does the public works committee do? Because they're supposed to do road engineering.
No, they're not. They're
I'm
more of an
still on.
emergency response group.
But there's a emergency committee too. That's a different committee.
Anyway, I think all of us are. So let's keep that in mind, and I'll put something more formal on the agenda for next time. Because it was suggested that also, maybe in order to review our charter, just take a look at that, and we may not want to make any changes. But there may be new things coming along, so it's something that we should be doing probably after 12 years and taking another look at that. Not aware of any events coming up that are. I don't have dates for Palooza or the town picnic and Zots to Talk yet. I'll endeavor to get those on the calendar as soon as I can. If there is nothing else, I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Do I have a
I'll second
second?
that.
Second that. Okay, yep. Meeting adjourned, and our next regularly scheduled meeting will fall on, that should read March the 6th. There's an error in my agenda. It should say March 6th, not February 6th. Perfect. Thank you, everybody.